there's been some mysterious killings in the Upper West region, and my colleague is going to be joining us to get as an update on it. The Ghana Police Service has been also speaking on this matter. We're getting to the mind of a security analyst to tell us exactly how this particular issue is playing out and what should be the major focus of attention for the Ghana Police Service. Stay with us. Also, tonight, New Patriotic Party flag bearer hopefuls invited for balloting on Friday, but we're learning one of the aspirants may have to pay up to 4 million cedis development fee before being cleared to contest. We have the conversation. Stay with us on Ghana Tonight. President John Dramani Mahama has hinted at possible prosecutions of individuals cited in the Auditor General's report whose actions or inactions have led to financial losses to the state. We'll dig into that. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight. And then we'll be asking the questions whether beyond just the prosecution, how about also the processes to retrieve said monies that have been lost as a result of actions of persons in the public sector captured in the Auditor General's report. You're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook. On X, let's get talking. Well, let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
President John Mahama is set to meet with the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and other key stakeholders on Thursday to discuss what he describes as a final solution to the recurring mismanagement of public funds every year in the Auditor General's reports. The President said the meeting will also focus on fast-tracking the prosecution of individuals implicated in such reports.
Persons who are found guilty of infractions or do not follow due procedure or lead to loss of public resources, we must have a fast-track process to Nsawam. Fast-track, before you see you are in Nsawam, 6 months. Until there's a deterrent, we're going to come every year and they say total misappropriation and infractions of found out by the Auditor General is about 15 billion cedis. I mean, if we save 15 billion cedis, can you imagine what it could do?
Barely a month after being released on bail by an Accra Circuit Court over charges of publication of false news and offensive conduct due to the breach of peace, NPP Bono Regional Chairman Kwame Bafo, also known as Abronya DC, has been picked up again. Abronya was rearrested on Wednesday, October 8, and charged with publication of false news with intent to create fear and panic and offensive conduct with insulting, and has been granted a bail of 1 million cedis with 2 sureties. This will be the second time the NPP Bono chair is being arrested in a span of 3 weeks. 2 nannies have been arrested for allegedly giving sleep-inducing drugs to the employer's 2-year-old twin sons and subjecting them to various abuses, such as heating their hands in fire. They administered the medication to the toddlers to make them sleep for extended hours so they could attend to other household chores. Superintendent Julian Obing is Director of Public Affairs, Accra Regional Police Command. This is what she had to say.
The businesswoman, a 40-year-old who is a complainant, reported to the police that she had observed unusual drowsiness and behavioral changes in her 2 sons during the month of September 2025. Now, subsequent inquiries revealed that the nannies had been administering a medication suspected to be used in their daily milk for the past 7 to 8 months. And they do this without the consent of the employer, that is the complainant. And this, they say, makes the children sleep for extended hours so they could attend to other house chores.
The Health Facilities Regulatory Agency, HEFRA, has shut down 17 unlicensed health facilities operating in the Greater Accra region for various infractions. The exercise being undertaken within the region, according to the CEO of HEFRA, Dr. Winfred Barr, will continue in other regions of the country to ensure the system is sanitized. CEO of the regulatory body, Dr. Winfred Barr, affirmed the authority's commitment to ensure the system is sanitized.
Recently, we've noticed that a lot of facilities are operating either without license or some with expired licenses. And this is against the law. Those who have not renewed their licenses, we gave them what we call administrative fines and gave them within 2 weeks to regularize their operations.
Government is set to introduce new measures in the coming days aimed at tackling the growing challenge of corporate insolvency in Ghana. As part of the initiative, the Office of the Registrar of Companies will be empowered to connect struggling businesses with financial institutions for possible support and recovery assistance. Deputy Attorney General Dr. Shremsai made the announcement while addressing business leaders and representatives from international financial institutions at a stakeholder forum in Accra.
When companies are insolvent, we put in place mechanisms to ensure that we would try to restructure them and ensure that the business will go on. That way, creditors are confident that their money will not be lost forever. Employees are confident that they will not lose their jobs and families will continue to be happy.
The Black Stars of Ghana have churned out a 5-star performance against Central Africa in Morocco to stay on top of Group I with 22 points. The 6th Black Stars win saw Kalmadine scoring his maiden Black Stars goal after he made his debut in 2020, with captain Jordan Ayew marking his 14th goal contribution in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Meanwhile, former Black Stars captain Asamoah Gyan has lauded the Stars.
I've seen this in a long time. The boys have done well for themselves. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Black Stars. Thank you to Ghanaians for their support. Today we came here to witness a victory match, but not this kind of margin. So the boys have done so well for themselves.
That's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live as well on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on YouTube. We're also live on 3FM 92.7. As always, probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Quell, Tum Precom. Now, let's get into the matters on the menu tonight. And there's quite some concern because 2 suspects have been nabbed over years-long serial killings in the Upper West and Savannah regions. Now, we're live with some chilling detail of exactly what's been happening over the years, and we've just chronicled the specific instances we're talking about to put matters in perspective. And let's go straight to the Upper West region, where the Regional Police Command has announced a major breakthrough in its investigation into a series of murder cases recorded in the region since 2021. Think about this. Now, there are 2 suspects, Sharif Abdullahi, 30 years of age, and Muhammad Lamin, he is 25, have been arrested in connection with these gruesome murders over the years. Correspondent Ibrahim Wangara is in the Upper West region right now, but let's hear from the police command in the area, giving another update of what the latest arrest really means with what is happening over the last 4 years. Take a look.
After weeks of intense intelligence, we have successfully arrested 2 suspects, Sharif Abdullahi, aged 30 years, and Muhammad Lamin, also aged 25 years, who are believed to be linked to these incidents of murders all over the municipality. The suspects later admitted during interrogation that he has killed 15 people in the Wa municipality since 2021. He further noted that he usually targets watchmen and mentally challenged persons. He confessed that he had killed 3 more mad men and 2 watchmen at Bole in the Savannah region, and a further 1 mad man in Banda and Kwanta, also in the Savannah region.
That's ACP Francis Yeribari then, now giving us updates of what's happening as the Upper West Regional Police Commander. Now, let me just chronicle a few of the murder cases that we're talking about and why these arrests we're talking about is crucial to the investigations over the last 4 years. In 2021, were 10 private security men, or we call them watchmen, who were killed under mysterious circumstances, and we reported a number of them. 5 of them are still missing. Others, their lifeless bodies were found with some body parts missing. And then fast forward to 2024, July, and this 10 we're talking about were at different dates in 2021. So we put them all together. Now, in 2024, on the 15th of July, a driver's mate was also killed at Dobele in cold blood. Now, they've been looking for the suspect over the period. Fast forward to the 18th of June, 2 security guards of the Wa Model School, that we want to call them watchmen essentially, and that of the Wa East District Education Office were both killed as well. Then fast forward to September 21st, 2025, just a few days ago, in fact, a little over a month ago, and that's 2 weeks ago, I beg your pardon, we saw this about 7:30. Yaya Issa, aged 55 years, was the latest to have been killed in Wa. This was just this year. Now, it raises concern as to what exactly has been happening. And that's why this arrest, you hear the police commander talk about it being crucial to the understanding what's going on. Ibrahim Ongara is connecting with us from the Upper West region. He's been monitoring this particular situation. And Ibrahim, thank you for connecting with us here on Ghana Tonight. And this is quite a troubling development, but the arrest has brought some relief to the police. Tell us about how the town folk have been reacting to the news of the arrest of these 2 young men.
Well, thank you. The local folks or people within Wa is just a mixed reaction, if I should put it, because at one breath, many are happy for the arrest made so far because they think that at long last, some kind of punitive measures will be taken against these perpetrators when finally being taken through prosecution. But some are also raising concerns to the fact that previously, since the start of these serial killings, we know and we were told clearly that about 21 suspects were arrested. And later on, we were told by the then Minister of Interior, Ambrose Derry, when he was briefing Parliament, and he says somewhere around Friday, March 3, 2023, he indicated that out of the 27 suspects arrested, 18 were discharged according to or per the advice of the Attorney General. And people were expecting to hear or know what happened to the remaining 19. But as it stands, there is no clear communication as to the status of proceedings or what actually happened to the remaining 19 suspects. So arresting or police closing up with these new 2 arrests is something that though others are happy, but people are asking questions to know how and why the police arrested these people and to what extent will this bring sanity to the Wa community? So that has been the reactions and the major topical things among local folks.
And talk about the local folk as well, because the areas where this incident happened, this particular development sent some fears down the spine of the people who are living there. Now, you've been talking to them over time. What exactly is the state of affairs now with these places where some people even had to flee the area because of these mysterious murders?
Actually, people or residents are not fleeing the area. However, those that are working around those vicinities, that is to say the watchmen, they are being conscious, and parents or relatives of watchmen are always consistently advocating for a more secure environment and protective kind of tools to support this watchman. And now the dynamic is changing a bit. Initially, if you hear of a watchman, normal is an elderly person. But since the inception of this kind of killings, the tangent is more or less shifting a bit, because now young or adult people are now being employed to handle or to man this kind of job, or to take post when it comes to security, unlike we used to see elderly people who barely can even walk, who were doing or performing these duties. However, one of the notable places that people are still kind of living in fear has to do with the Duori area. That is where the recent incident occurred. And during the past incidents, that area again came up. So this one adding up to the incident, because the driver mate who lost his life, that incident also occurred around Duori, closer to the latest incident where Issa Yahaya was murdered. So that area has become a kind of hotspot for people, and residents are actually not happy with the situation, despite the fact that there is police post and this anti-robbery people stationed there. All these incidents keep or are still occurring within that area. So the assembly member is someone that has always been complaining. Even from my last engagement with him, he was on the neck of the assembly, appealing that they should at least improve security situation or lighting situation within the area, so that it can help expose or unravel some of these incidents.
Update. And let's go on to the telephone now. And Dr. Victor Doke is a security analyst, also a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Dr. Doke, I appreciate your time. And this is a case that when we recorded these mysterious murders, we spoke to you. The police say this arrest of these two gentlemen is a major breakthrough in their investigation. But it's not a closed case yet, is it? Especially because of the other cases that have not been resolved. What should be the approach and the thinking of the police beyond this point?
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. I think let me take this opportunity to commend the police for, taking a step and then coming out with this progress. Now, let's look at these are suspects, yeah? Further investigation will have to be done, and tying these suspects to the other murders or any links with regards to associations that they may have. And that is very critical to the police's investigations to help them finalize or come to a conclusion whether the other murders are also linked to these two suspects. So it is not closed yet. Now, whatever evidence that has been found with regards to any suspect would have to be ascertained whether it really is something that ties to any suspect in a murder case or not. So we may be in for a long haul with regards to establishing the facts. Otherwise, statement, I mean very, the evidence points out to the fact that any suspect is or has committed any kind of crime. And it means that they will have to be, prosecuted. But as it stands now, the law enforcement will have to establish whether the murders that the suspects have, in testimony said they may have committed or have committed is really the case. And then how can they, law enforcement, also tie the other cases to, whether it was these two or groups linked to these two. But I think for what has come out, there should be more than these two in regards to those who are involved in this kind of criminal activities. So I think more investigation could be done, and I think they would have to widen their intelligence operations also to other environs to, establish facts with regards to these murders. I think we may have some long haul with regards to the process itself coming up.
Well, and we'll wait out to see how things play out. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Victor Doke. Yes, a security analyst and also a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Also to you, Ibrahim Wangara, our Power West Regional Correspondent. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, a new patriotic party flag bearer hopefuls set for Friday for the balloting of exactly how they would appear on the ballot paper with position. But one person, one of the flag bearer hopefuls, may have to cough up 4 million cedis before making the cut. Now, we have the inside scoop for you. Now, this is one that we've been watching quite closely. The new patriotic party flag bearer hopefuls are expected to, barring any last-minute hitches, go for the balloting of their positions on the ballot paper ahead of the January 31 crucial 2026 flag bearer race, ahead of election 2028. But there's a letter to that effect confirming what is going to be happening in the coming days. And we have a copy of it. The details we're going to put on the screen right now. Essentially, this is the chairman of the committee directed that the man who signed this particular statement to extend an invitation to all persons participating in a balloting process to determine their positions on the ballot paper for the upcoming January 31 presidential primary. And these persons we're talking about are the 5 individuals who expressed their intentions to lead the MPP into election 2028. Dr. Mahmoud Obamia, Kennedy Japan. We also have in there Brian Echampo and Dr. Yase Duchum, and the last being Kwabena J. Japan, former General Secretary of the party. This is not the first time he's going at the presidency, but for him, we'll tell you something about Kwabena J. Japan shortly. But then this is what the letter or the statement that was issued earlier detailed, that on Friday, October 10, there'll be a balloting at the NPP headquarters at 11 a.m. And they're kindly requesting the confirmation of all these 5 individuals because the vetting committee has cleared all 5 of them. That's the development this earlier today. They've all been cleared, so they are all expected to attend to this invitation for the balloting. If there are any questions, they say they can write and get some clarification and some information as well. But as expected, all 5 of them who were cleared by the vetting committee are to be at the party's headquarters. Or any legally qualified representative can also do so on their behalf. Now, the issue here is what is happening with one of them, one of the individuals that we're talking about, Kwabena J. Japan, because we're getting some information about the 4 million cedis development fee that, if you recall, Dr. Brian Champong and Kennedy Japan raised concerns about as to why that should be the case. Eventually, from what we're hearing, they've had to pay. But Cabinet Judge Japong as well, who raised concerns about it earlier, is the only one yet to pay this 4 million cedis development fee. Now, let's get into this. And Professor Samuel Adujemfi is a political analyst and a senior lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Thank you, Prof, for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And if what we're hearing is anything to go by, earlier today, all 5 flag bearer hopefuls were cleared by the vetting committee. They have the green light to contest. Friday, they're expected to ballot for their positions on the ballot paper, but then you have to pay the 4 million cedis development fee, or else you stand the risk of being disqualified. I mean, first off, let's start off with this entire balloting process and how crucial this is to the exercise, or what is going to be happening within the MPP. Prof, thank you for joining us.
It is essential that once you have potential candidates, who have put in their forms and are waiting in the queue to be called upon to do some of these vetting, and also, I think they've gone beyond some of these thresholds. But to cast a ballot and to be able to tell who lies at what end would lead to philosophizing around numbers. I'm sure around this time, the teaming followership of those individuals will be making projections based on what type of position number 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and what it represents in numbers in terms of politics, and what it represents for a potential candidate who will win and who will not win. And I'm sure that a lot of analysis will come up to, quite often, Mbiti said, Africans are notoriously religious. I'm sure the prophets will get involved, the seers will get involved. Possibly there will be some neurological analysis, right? Around some of these things. It has the tendency to whip up sentiments, excitement, euphoria, and all that. But I'm hoping that even in this process, there will be fairness.
But do these positions really matter? We've seen, at least in the 2024 elections, there was always that jostle for the first or second position because of the campaign messaging around it, at least over the years, right from 1992, 96 to the 2000 elections. Between NPP and NDC, there's always been either the top, the number 1, or the last position for the kind of campaign messaging. But we saw that unpopular position that John Mahama picked for the 2024 election. I say unpopular for the lack of better expression because of the kind of messaging we have seen in previous elections. There was no number 8 in there anyway. But then he's won the election. So really, is there any premium that the position brings to all of this?
They do not matter at all. Whether you are on the list as number 1 or 2 or 3, it will not matter. I think how you have marketed yourself, how you've endeared yourself to the people, your capacity to deliver the public good in terms of showing the party that you have the capacity to bring development, first of all, to the party, in your ability to reconcile their ranks, unite their front, and be able to present a more nuanced program that will be able to compete what the incumbent government is doing today, and how that can bring home victory to the MPP, for that matter, is what I believe should matter within the scheme of things. But like I said earlier, we are notoriously religious, and so the excitement would come about through religious sentiment and how we value what numbers are in terms of, people working around numerology. And I'm sure that in this religious silo, if you like, or conveyor belt, there's the likelihood that the prophets, the seers, and other religious pundits pundits will come out to want to work around the numbers and to raise a lot of interesting dynamics. But the sense of elections should rather suffice, i.e., your ability to market yourself, your posture, how you have been able to, endear yourself to the people, and the goodwill you have, among other things, should be able to drive home the results and not necessarily where you lie in terms of position.
On the ballot paper. But there's one issue. In fact, when this matter came up earlier, this 4 million cedis development fee, there were elements within the party who explained the reason why this is important. I recall we spoke, you had indicated there was a need for some raising of funds because the party is not in power. They need money to run the affairs of the party. So that could be another way of doing that. But we're learning of demands made by on Cabinet Japan to pay the said 4 million cedis, else he would not be allowed to progress, in fact, or as it were, go through the process till the end. It has become a condition even after the vetting. And if this is the case, how concerning is this?
Yes, because there's a need to be concerned from day one. Some of us have said that we cannot go on the tangent of moneycracy, but we need more technocratic, more practical-minded people, individuals who have the, if you like, the capacity to present leadership, either an amalgam or a mix of servant leadership, charismatic leadership, pragmatic leadership, among others, to drive the party to a position that would make it more viable. If you decide to want to hinge an individual's ability to contest in an internal democratic arrangement of a party, to be hinged on money, what you are trying to say is that the party is not really interested in leadership per se,
right,
but they are interested in the money they are taking from the people. If the MPP feels that they need money, they are in opposition and they need money, maybe they can go and do GoFundMe or something, or find additional ways of raising money, and not necessarily say that the individuals should be able to bring money to the table before they are allowed to contest. Here we are talking about 4 million Ghana cedis. Is that not the case?
Yes, that's the 4 million cedis. That's what is described as a development fee for the party.
Individual is unable to raise 4 million Ghana cedis. Should he or she not be able to contest in the party's primaries? But for me, that question must be answered. Where are they getting the money from? Some of them are businessmen. Some of them may have friends that will give it to them. But the question is that if the party needs funding, the party should find more nuanced ways of funding the party. And it leads me to the macro level analysis to this issue, that the political parties funding in Ghana, in this country, must be looked at. The idea that, executives of parties are able to force potential flag bearers and candidates to cough out monies like this, they do not augur well. It does not augur well for party building, because you don't only need money to build a party. You need credible ideas. You need the sense of synergy that is bred through right leadership. And when there is right leadership, the party on its own will become viable, marketable, acceptable, to allow people to want to contribute their money to fund the political party's activities, and not find it difficult to release money to support the political parties. But where do these parties, and here the MPP, historically, where has it been able to mobilize its money? I'm sure some businessmen have made contributions over the years. I'm sure well-wishers and individuals have made some contribution to the party. Some, maybe international organizations and other businessmen, have made contribution to the party. Maybe a proper audit of the party's account historically and how they've been able to fund their party will help us to further reflect on this conversation. But for me, it is worrying when potential candidates, individuals who have capacity and ideas, are jettisoned or pushed to the periphery, or they are not encouraged to come to the center of the political discourse of the party, i.e. even think about leading the party because they don't have 4 million Ghana cedis sitting in their account, or they cannot quickly, out of abracadabra movement, bring something or conjure some money to the table, or cough out 4 million Ghana cedis, so they are not allowed to be able to present themselves to contest some of these things. So it is worrying when the MPP, which historically has been seen to be democratic and has some internal democratic credentials and have even further contributed to refining Ghana's electoral processes, is today seen to be writing to or informing an individual that he may not be able to contest because he's not paid 4 million Ghana cedis.
I see. But
are they thinking about
Prophet, we reached some persons who were close to him and associated to him to, as it were, confirm this. They've been tight-lipped about it. They refuse to give us any confirmation or denial of it. But then again, should it be the case? You mean you expect those who are running against Kwabena Japan, that is the other 4, to stand up for him? That is, if it is indeed the case that he is unable to raise this 4 million as a prerequisite for becoming a flag bearer, even though he's gone through the vetting, that these were ground rules set right from the beginning?
Oh, that is it. And I'll add something to that, if I do not know if we have time. But I will tell you this. Politics must be based on ideas. Politics must be based on knowledge. Politics must be based on the practical scheme of things. Politics must be based on common sense. And when the ideas are not important, but money becomes overly an important subject beyond ideas, it leads us to potential corruption and thievery. And for me, that behavior that some of these political parties put up and seize the occasion to even sell a potential flag bearer a slot to individuals. Such slots are given to the highest bidder, the one who can pay huge money to support the campaign. The question is that, where do they get this money from to take those slots?
But then again,
it's becoming absurd, disgusting, and even sickening. So, right. The least to say about this is that this gentleman must have some protestation against the party's conduct.
Well, but how do you also respond to those who are of the view that the office of the president, the flag bearer for that matter, is not for men of straw, but for men who have the mettle to raise funds, as a matter of fact, because it's almost automatic that if you go through this process, you stand a chance, of becoming president if you're elected as flag bearer for both NPP and NDC. It's been a straight 2-horse race over the period. So if that's the case, you must show something, some amount of capacity and the level of the strength to be able to carry the people along. Not only that, but also the ability to raise funds to run the affairs of the party, run your own campaign. And they say that this is a test of it. Raise 4 million and help with the affairs of the party. Prof.
I do not want to be sarcastic, but I am of the view that if it's only about money, then people who are into cocaine business, who have joined some serious cartel, people who are armed robbers, who are into international robbery and crime, would be the first to qualify to lead political parties because they have money easily. And when we talk about men of straw, if I'm a university teacher and I've taught for years, I belong to a political party, I have ideas, fine ideas that can help build this country and build a political party. And today, I cannot cough out 4 million Ghana cedis. And because of that, I'm a man of straw. That's their own cup of tea. For me, it will define what party the MPP is, the kind of party it is. But I'm hoping and praying that they'll begin to rethink this posture. Because if it is only about financial resourcefulness, and even if you scale it up to macro level analysis about the state, if it were to be about natural resource per se, or financial resource per se, but not human resource, Africa would have been a continent to live in, and then would have come a begging. But the resources not enough. Having gold, diamond, bauxite is not enough. You need a human resource.
Right. I thank you so much. I think points well made there. Professor Samuel Edujemfi is a political analyst and senior lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, President John Dramani Mahama is hinting of the prosecution of persons who are captured as having diverted state funds into other ventures other than what it was meant for, as captured in the Auditor General's report, for prosecution. Now, we'll dig into who could be in the crosshairs on this particular matter. But first, before we go for the break, let's hear from the president, exactly what the president said. That will lead us into our conversation. It's a big one, because we would establish whether indeed the president's position on this matter is one that also reflects the exact state of affairs as to where these monies are. Because consistently, we see the Public Accounts Committee members worked out emotionally, worked out talking about how public funds have been dissipated, they're diverted to private pockets, and it ends there. We don't see much of prosecutions or any reports of maximum retrieval. But this is what the president said earlier today. Take a look.
And so I have a meeting on Thursday with the Chief Justice, the Attorney General, and others to find a final solution to this Auditor General's report, that persons who are found guilty of infractions or do not follow due procedure or lead to loss of public resources, we must have a fast-track process to Nsawam. Fast-track, before you see you in Nsawam, 6 months. Until we do that, until there's a deterrent, we're going to come every year and they say total misappropriation and infractions of found out by the Auditor General is about 15 billion cedis. I mean, if we save 15 billion cedis, can you imagine what it could do?
That's the president there. After this quick break, Alfred Ocansey is a data scientist and a public policy analyst, is going to be joining us on this issue and the conversation on the back of what the president has indicated. Stay with us. We're back shortly. This is Ghana Tonight. Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. Now, you earlier had the president, his position on the malfeasance that is captured, financial malfeasance captured in the Auditor General's report over the years. And the Public Accounts Committee always having to lament about this. And Alfred Apia is a data scientist, is joining us on Zoom right now. Alfred, thank you so much for making the time to join us. Now, the president says, look, after this Auditor General's report over the years has captured these levels of infractions and the monies that the state loses, and in some instances, the Auditor General is able to recover, just a fraction of it. There should be something more to deter public servants who get involved in these actions that cost the state money. Throw them in so on for 6 months. And that should be as a deterrent, and find a way of recovering it. Why do you say that the Auditor General's report should not or may not be a potent measure of the financial malfeasance in the public sector?
Yeah, Alfred, I think my main point is about the definition of irregularities, right, that is captured in the Auditor General's report. I think that a lot of the times we take the bulk definition of or the bulk amount. So, for example, 2024, when you look at the public corporations, right, there's 18.4 billion cedis in financial irregularities. But when you actually disaggregate the data and try to understand the components of it, the bulk of it over the years is usually has to do with unpaid debt, right? So, and a lot of the times it is agency to agency unpaid debt. So, for instance, in 2024, right, there's 18.4 billion, but about 12.5 of that is money that ECG owed We Power, right? So when we look at that, it's just money that is owed. So now we have to, of course, we have to follow the money. So the money is sold. Why was the money not paid? And get to understand that. So my main point is that when we say financial irregularities, at least based on the auditor's report, right, it's not always that it is money that is stolen or it is money that is missing. It's just a lot of it is just debt. And when you look on the screen, I show the chart. When you look at from 2020 all the way to 2024, over that 5-year period, you can see that almost always the bulk of the financial irregularities is due to that outstanding debt. Now, you can make the point that 2024, the others, which would include like cash and procurement and all of those things, increased quite a bit. Like the share is quite significant. But when you look at that in detail, you see a lot of it is also still cash, which is 4.58. And when you actually read the auditor's report, it talks about ECG under declaring revenues. And so part of that is ECG under declared revenue, also or didn't pay IPPs, right? So all of that will be captured as part of those financial irregularities, and rightly so. But the audit itself would say that about 80-something% of that money is recoverable, right? So I think we just have to put these numbers in context, right? And I think a lot over the years, and to me, I make the point that it is also things like that leads to estimations of like $21 billion that should be recovered through oral and all of that, and then creates this expectation, right? Now, I'm not in any way trying to downplay the level of rot or the level of waste in the public service. I'm just saying that the auditor's report alone doesn't really tell us significantly much. When you follow the Public Accounts Committee, you hear of like the little ones, like the payroll and these ones. Some teacher got some money, or some employee got some money that they didn't work for, and all of that. Those are little. To me, a lot of the big ones, like your SMLs and all those ones, wouldn't even show up in the auditor's report. So the obvious, like the ones that go through a lot of like sophisticated schemes to basically be corruption, don't show up in the auditor's report. So I just think that we might be over the years might have been the proxy that we use for waste in the public service might not be accurate in the sense that in the definition of the auditor's report.
Why? But you see, Alfred, I totally understand you. But then again, the point you make that 80% of the monies captured as irregularities are recoverable. The most important denominator is whether they actually recovered.
Yes, and I think the auditor also reports on that, right? So every year.
That's the point I'm trying to make, that the 80% every year is not recovered. Not all the 80% is recovered. right? The Auditor General will come give us updates of a fraction of the irregularities recovered. So
Yes.
you would understand why the president will make that statement, that
absolutely
there has to be a way of stopping this, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think we have to trace the issue to, so for example, if the bulk of the irregularity is debts, why is ECG not able to pay its debts, right? So we have to go through, do that root cause analysis to understand what is happening at ECG that is making it unable to pay its debt. I don't think a lot of in a lot of cases, like we know about all the procurement issues at ECG, right? We know about all the over procurements. The minister has said it cancels a contract and things like that. So I think we need the discussion to be more comprehensive than so we need to throw people in jail. Well, how do we get to that? And I think it's that mentality that also makes it hard, right? Because we haven't really taken the time to understand the root causes of that, and we think that jail time is probably the main thing that we think about. But I just feel like we just need to make the analysis a little bit more comprehensive to get to the root causes.
Well, and I appreciate you for this. It's just a beginning of a bigger conversation on this matter. Alfred, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. It's a data scientist and a public policy analyst. Alfred appeared there. I thank you. But before we go, we got a release from the presidency. This is a statement announcing deputy heads of missions. The presidency has just announced the appointment of deputy heads of missions of the Republic of Ghana. And there are some names in there that are striking as well. And this also generated some attention. You see there, for Dr. Palmer Apiajan, Federal Republic of Germany, Deputy Head of Mission, Francesca Jacon, Swiss Federation, Ben Doche Malo is in there as well. You also have General Thomas Opompepra, he's a former Chief of Defense Staff, also named in there as the Deputy Head of Mission to Canada, the former CDS, General Thomas Opompepra, Sulemana Ibn Idrisu, Republic of India, Harry Zevon, Dr. Harry Zevon, the People's Republic of China, and then also you have Aquinas Kwanzaa. It's a former member of Parliament. It's the United Kingdom, Great Britain, and Ireland. That's what you have, at least this based on the statement that we have in there. And also George Harrison, Republic of Korea, Jemilatu Amadou, United Arab Emirates, Emmanuel Neche Apedo, the Netherlands, Sofia Karin, Edem Akwaku, Italian Republic as well, and then also Francis Thalamus Do, also Japan, Sani Jaja, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Kojo Ejei Jomo, Republic of Turkey. And we also have Emmanuel Kamban, Panyan, Russian Federation, Al-Hassan Mohammed Saidu, Issa Abba, Republic of South Africa, Mohammed Ibn Chambas, Mohammed Ibn Abbas, Mohammed Ibn Abbas, Arab Republic of Egypt, as Mohammed Ibn Abbas, and Reverend Isaac Clive Mode. Reverend Dr. Isaac Clive Mode is a pastor of Action Chapel International, also heading to the Kingdom of Denmark. So that's the development in there. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. Join us tomorrow for another conversation. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint, superior durability, superior hiding.